How are farmland values at a record high, given that we are now fully through year 2 of an agricultural economic downturn? I'll give you 3 reasons why. Duration, inflation, and location. What am I talking about? Well, just a week or so ago, the Purdue University, my alma mater, comes out with something they do every year. It's an agricultural economic report about cash rents and farmland values. They get experts. They do a very scientific job of this. They break it down by regions within the state and give you the values for high, meaning the most productive farm ground, average, and poor. We're at a record high, a little over $15,000 an acre here where I'm standing right now, depending on quality of land. But let's talk about the duration aspect of this. Why would farmland values be high when we're in year 2 of an agricultural downturn, commodity prices being so low? Well, first off, asset values do track farm income. Land values do track farm income, but they lag because it takes a while for the downturn to come out in the asset value. There might be cash rent contracts that were set 2 and 3 years ago at a high commodity price environment. They're still being honored, thereby propping up the value. Generally, it takes a couple of years for these things to work themselves out. Do I see a downturn? Yes, and that's going to bring it to why it's going to be not as bad as some people might think because of inflation. As long as there is still a fear of inflation, remember, we're only a year removed from 2 years removed from double-digit inflation. Farmland has always been a 1-to-1 hedge against inflation. In other words, it goes up at the exact same rate of general inflation. So if you're a moneyed person, an investor, and I did a video about investors coming to agricultural land that got people very emotional, or if you're a farm person, you look at farm ground as a solid, secure investment and also a hedge against inflation. Number 3 reason, location. I'm standing in northeast Indiana. There's a subdivision behind me right over there. There's another subdivision not too far, just to the east of that. If you are in an area like Indiana, where there are 7 million people and solar farms and data centers and subdivisions, there is pressure on the farm ground to create or prop up its value. In other words, its highest and best use. Let's say Nebraska, which I love working in Nebraska, but it has a much sparser population, 2 million people in a state that's almost a little more than double the size of Indiana. So in other words, certain farm prices are going to hold up better because of competitive uses besides just growing corn, soybeans, wheat, or hay. Now you got it. Why are farm ground prices at a record high given the economic downturn in agriculture? Because of duration, inflation, and location. Another video I'll talk about precipitation and holding up farmland values. But for now, let's stick with those 3. I'm Damian Mason. I speak on stages and right here online about the world's most important industry, the business of agriculture. Thank you for tuning in.